Sorry for the shakiness. I forgot like my good car suction cup in the rental car in Florida, and that's the second time that I've done that. I don't know, I gotta get like just a little, like instead of bringing the whole fancy camera, just get like a little GoPro, just so I could, at that point I could just tape it to the window and that'd be good. But yeah, it feels good to be back into a regular routine. So plan for tonight with hamstrings, nothing too crazy. I'm talking just laying curls, maybe some seated kind of squeezing, burning curls. But honestly, laying is going to be the real star of the show. And only because the seated curl at this gym isn't great. Not the machine itself, but this particular example, just from how it's been used, and I don't know, maybe it's just got some wear, something about it, right? It could use a what could it word? It could use a makeover. It could use a pimp my hamstring machine and get it back to its former glory days. That's for sure. And then afterward, 30 minutes of probably just regular bike cardio, maybe seated. I used to be like seated only, like a seated cardio elitist. And by seated, I mean like recumbent, where the seat is low to the ground and the pedals are in front of you. But since last prep, I actually kind of like the regular bike where the pedals are below you, like a real bike. Sure, you don't get to lean back and like recline, but honestly, sometimes it almost feels a little easier to pedal like that. And it doesn't matter whether the cardio is hard or not, as long as it gives you the intended result that you want. There's nothing increasingly, fat burning about the Stairmaster versus the treadmill versus the bike versus whatever. What's actually going to, decide what's more effective or what's more demanding is how high your heart rate gets. So if I can get my heart rate as easy as I can up to that 140 range, 130 something for 30 minutes straight, well, shit, man, that's what I want, right? If anything, I want the cardio to be as least physically taxing while still, getting me up into that zone whatever heart rate where, I'm sweating at 10 minutes and then I can tell I'm pedaling hard, but not so hard that I have to back off. That's honestly the gauge of how difficult I make the cardio. I want to be able to pedal, even if I didn't have a number, I could just turn it up one of the friction-based bikes, and just feel that okay, I can do this difficulty steadily for 30 minutes. If it's too hard, I'll start to burn out. I'll start to feel that it's getting harder to pedal. So it's just kind of a sweet spot of difficulty, if you follow. But I'm going to do that after hamstrings. I did 30 minutes in the morning, and I think now it's time to get a little more serious and add 30 minutes post-lift. So what that means is I also got to get a cardio bike at the private gym so that I can, get that loop going well. The problem is cardio bikes, I want a good deal. That's what I'm looking for. Like a new fancy cardio bike, like the stuff you'd see at like a new Planet Fitness, where that's I'm sure that somewhere someone is doing a pitch of like the new 2026 Matrix recumbent bike with it may as well have an iPad slapped into the center console. I don't need that. There's just no. Got my phone, man. I don't need that to be one cohesive unit. But I do want to spoil myself a little more than just like a Craigslist off the side of the road bike. So I'll scan around. I tried to get one that was actually like a decent deal, and then the website was down as soon as I tried to place my order. So now I'm back to square one. But I think the best part about actually having a cardio bike either in the basement, maybe in your garage, having a gym that's just really close by. Imagine one of the gyms that's kind of like a little bit in the country. I'm just driving down kind of country roads now. Imagine if that was a gym right there, or wherever. It's nice to have that convenience. You want to basically reduce the difficulty of actually doing your cardio as much as possible. Now, if that's having the cardio in your kitchen, like I used to when I was in college in my apartment, well, guess what, man? If it works, it works. That's for sure. But hamstrings won't be too wild. I mean, just a lot of squeezing stuff at this point. I can tell if I overdo it, dieting, like coming down, calorie deficit, I do feel it. Like I am going to feel a twinge and a pull the next couple days if I overdo it on heavy hamstring curls, or if I overdo it on bench, or I overdo it on something. So it's kind of a necessary nerf in a way, where you have to back off, or at least maybe not, in general, but for me, I have to back off a touch on the overall loading of the workouts. Focus more so on squeezing, just like, activation side of things, and then, just make sure I'm pumped and holding on to the muscle that I've built in the off season. I know I'm going to get to go super heavy in a couple of months anyway, so I can wait. I'm patient. I can handle some lighter squeezing pump lifts while I'm dieting, because I know that heavier, nasty, insane lifts are to come once I start beefing up again, right? It's, I'm talking about the tide. It goes in and out. And that's one thing I think a lot of characters, and I don't mean characters like notable, like influence, I just mean like people in fitness, like getting into the gym, are potentially lacking. Like, this isn't just a blatant statement, but just a little bit of like a, my own kind of mental suspicion. If you were to ask, let's say we were to get 100 people from a gym, random gyms, random polls, maybe 1,000, whatever, and we were to ask them like one question, like, hey man, we're doing a survey, we'll give you $10. Tell me, in one sentence, what are your progress plans for the next year? What are your progress plans for the next 6 months? Or, whatever time period. But let's say a year. It's easy to just think that, well, I'm going to keep coming to the gym and I'm going to go hard and that'll be the end of it. I think a lot of people kind of get caught like that, where they do show up and their consistency is solid. But, I've said this a couple times now, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but you can show up every day to class and still fail the class because, sure, you were there, but you weren't really applying yourself. And then, right, I'm talking outside of class, when you're home, is your diet, kind of, at least in some way, synergistic with what your training goals are? Are you sleeping more than 3 hours a night? Are you drinking more than a few cups of water and like a Coke Zero that you got from the vending machine? Like, those things add up, So it's all kind of part of the plan. So what I was kind of getting at, that roundabout, point of saying all that, is that I'm glad I can have at least every couple of months something that I'm directly aiming for in the training. It's not just train indefinitely. It's okay, I'm getting leaner, I'm dieting, okay, I'm gonna lose, the goal is losing body fat, maintain size, maintain strength, and continue. And then once I've achieved that goal and I'm done, maybe in like April or whenever, then I'm gonna say, okay, all right, time to rewire, time to take out the dieting CD and put in the bulking up CD, and say, okay, time to put as much lean tissue on my frame as I can. And obviously in both situations I get to enjoy the process. But now I'm just rambling, so let me just stop freaking yapping and get this leg day started. For this hamstring day, a little bit lighter. Alright, I gotta learn how to take my own advice. I just did the stack way too heavy, just for a feeler rep. So 150 will work. Yeah. Let's move on. Yeah, I'll be here for a while, but let me hit this shit. Let me hit that shit, man. This will be good. I was being a hater. This machine feels sweet. So the lane curl is heavy. This is going to be light squeezing. So I really want to sit and hold these for like a couple seconds. Sometimes I say I hold it a second, and it's really just like a moment. Like I mean like a legit 2-second hold. There we go. All right. Okay. Yeah, so that was quick. I mean, 30 minutes does not pass by so slowly if you're actually sitting kind of distracting yourself. I mean, I'm sure 30 minutes of cardio sucks if you're the type of guy where you sit on the bike and the whole time you're thinking, oh my God, I hate this. Oh my God, I'm pedaling. Oh my God, oh, I just want to be done. I can see how that wouldn't really work as well because, you know, I mean, you got no freaking excitement for what you're doing. There we go. So that's where I think I employ two separate methods of cardio, let's just say enjoyment. Number one, I'm talking just straight up distraction, playing on my phone, looking at random rabbit holes, watching videos, watching a movie, you know, just anything to make those 30 minutes pass. And it's, I'd say out of all of history, right now we're the best and most well-equipped to kill time. So to sit on the cardio bike or the treadmill or the Stairmaster or whatever and watch arguably the most addictive thing on the freaking planet, your phone, it's a pretty easy distraction, right? I don't even think about how I'm pedaling. But also excitement, right? Thinking about how if I don't do this cardio, or not even that, not even thinking if I don't do it, thinking about how this cardio is just a stepping stone towards the goals that I want to achieve and that I want to do it. You know, sometimes there are things that you want to do and that you seriously want to do, but the steps to do it, some at least, are things that you don't really want to do, right? I think we all want an awesome grade, right? We all want, you know, this, that, or the other. But to actually do it and make it happen, well, I mean, it's going to take time. It's going to take, you know, some work. And that's, you know, time and work, that's just not fun, right? For anything, you know, we want things right now, instantly. But that's just not how it is, you know? So I try to spin that into making me excited about doing it because kind of just like a, you know, be the 5%er kind of guy. Like I know if everybody else is skipping it, well then I should do it. It's almost like a call to action. The fact that it's hard and the fact that a lot of people don't do it, make excuses why they don't do it, just, you know, try to, I mean, how many people even who work out for real even do cardio? And I don't mean like occasionally. I mean, out of the population of people, let's say out of the 6-day-a-weekers, so that's, you know, that's what? or 6-day week. Yeah, 6-day weekers. So let's do the math. Let's say, they go to the gym 250 days out of the year. So these guys are serious. How many of them did cardio even half of those sessions? After, before, maybe in a separate thing in the morning, or just anything. How many even do their cardio? It's just not. And that's getting back to what I was saying in the car on the way here. Right? You can show up, but that doesn't mean you're doing enough. That doesn't mean you're doing what it actually takes to get where you want to be. So think about it like this, right? Think about somebody who you look up to. Think about somebody who's like a real freaking, shark who has seriously made some shit happen. They probably weren't slacking, right? If you ever go to an awesome, huge bodybuilding show, I'm talking Olympia level, a New York Pro, Pittsburgh Pro, the Arnold, and like you stay and these guys didn't slack off, right? They knew what they wanted to do, and they did what it took to get there. You know what I'm saying? So it's, I guess that's just on an individual basis. I know guys who are going to die on the hill of cardio kills your gains, man. You shouldn't even do it. And there's no arguing with that. It's just more of a, just living with the fact that that's how some people are, right? But I see that as an opportunity to separate from the crowd. If only 1% of people are doing the cardio, I want to be in that 1%. If only 1% of people are really trying to kill it on their sets, I want to be in that 1%. If only 0.5%, I don't know what percent, give themselves a program or give themselves a routine working out wise to do for a year, and they actually stick to it the entire year, barring like normal circumstances that'll get in the way, I want to be in that group. I don't want there to be any excuses. I don't want there to be any just hemming and hawing. I just couldn't really. The plan next spring is to do some competitions. You're not going to see me say, and I guess you never know what can happen, but I'm fairly confident you're not going to see me say, oh, I don't know, I just didn't work out. I couldn't do my cardio. I couldn't lock in on my diet. It just wasn't going to work. It's not going to happen, or at least I'm not going to let it happen, right? You never know. So, knock on wood. Let's hope I didn't get hit by like a freaking meteor or something. But barring catastrophe, right? Barring whatever the opposite of a miracle is, I know what I want to do, and the plan is to make it happen. So every day that I finish my cardio, that I track my calories, that I have a badass workout, that I drink my water and I freaking carry my jug around, that's one step closer. That's one little itty bitty step closer. And on their own, relatively, in the grand scheme of things, insignificant, or at least some people may look at that and think that it's insignificant. That's the argument of the guy who's gonna say, dude, you worked out all month. You worked out all friggin' month, man. Take a couple days off. Like, they say you earned it. It's, dude, you've been working really hard. You earned it. You earned the right to slack off. Yeah. Like that's not the reward. That's not what you earned, right? You earn the results that you got from that training. I'm not saying don't take it easy on occasion, but it's there's two ways that people look at working out. They look at training. They look at anything. One is as though it's just a time period of torture where they're starving themselves. They're not letting themselves eat whatever they want to eat. And the other, they want to do it. The training and the becoming and the becoming and the overcoming, well, that's the fun part, Like I have, obviously I have fun being lean, like it's cool. But if I had to pick one or the other that I really like doing, between bulking up and getting leaner, well, shit, man, the bulking up is where the progress is made. That's the fun part. Walking around at the same size, it's definitely cool being big, but that's not the point, right? The point is, or at least for me, is getting bigger, right? It's that progressing, to stagnate and like to just stay totally plateaued, right? That's no fun, man. There's no chase. So at least for now, right? That's what I kind of want. It's like the hunt of gains, or the obviously it's going to get gradually harder and harder for me to get leaner and leaner. That's kind of the current hunt, as you'd say, right? Hunting for leanness. That's the fun part. I don't want to, as much as these days may be very similar in the fact that I wake up, I do my cardio, eat this is pretty similar meals, train at the same time, cardio again, come back and repeat. As much as it's the same day on loop, I'm not the same guy in the beginning of each day, right? Every day is a little bit different. I'm a little bit ahead of where I was before. So that's where you can get stuck, because the difference between making legit progress or just staying exactly where you are, well, your routine isn't going to indicate that, because you can do the same thing every day and make results, or let's not even say the other side of things, right? The friggin' word that shall not be named, be plateaued. So just think about it. I try to do this every so often. Now I'm even once I finish and record here, I'm probably gonna have a little bit of reflection where it's just like an objective, not so bad as a like Tarantino detest fest, but I'm talking just thinking about how hard you've been going, how consistent you've been, and really like kind of what I'd consider the most, like, not eye-opening, but eye-opening isn't a bad way to describe it, kind of thought is to really objectively think, like, am I really doing what I'm willing to do? Like, am I really putting in the energy that I want to get the results back? Because if the answer is no, well then, why not? And the implications of that why not are not cool, right? I really want it. I'm not really willing to do it. Well, shit, man. Like, that sucks, Like the whole, it's as though you're, let's say you're like a vigilante kind of guy, and you're seeing somebody get mugged right in front of you. Right? You know what the right answer is, right? You know that's a call to action. And to just, I don't want to say cower, but just to ignore it. I mean, you're freaking harboring, or, well, not harboring. That's not the word. You're flowering regret, Like, I don't want to look back and think, man, I probably should have worked out a little harder. I was really slacking off for a while. I got pretty big, and then I just kind of like, I just stayed. I don't want that thought. If anything, I want to think I did too much, because at least that means that I didn't underdo it. I'd rather overshoot than undershoot. That is for sure. Obviously, the perfect scenario is perfectly shoot and do exactly as much as needed, and not to go too crazy. But you never go too far, or you'll never know if you've gone too far until you kind of see where that limit is, right? So I guess to kind of highlight and not highlight, but to condense all that into one word, right? Push the limit. See what you're really capable of, and odds are it's probably more than you think. So I'm gonna have my own little thought there and get ready for chest tomorrow. Like, I'm already I mean, even just from hanging out with all the raw guys, like I ran into Blessing at the raw gym. Like, just being in that kind of space has got me so excited. I'm already thinking about chest, and I'm not even gonna hit it for like another 18 hours or so. That's good. That's what I want to feel. So plan now is go eat some ground beef. Definitely slam some extra fluids. I can tell I did not drink enough in the last couple of hours, and get a good night's rest. So that's all I freaking got. Sorry for the late upload. Tomorrow will be much earlier. Traveling always kind of throws me off. I think I like bringing the fancy camera with me everywhere, because it's cool and it looks cooler than just a regular phone. But I think whenever I'm traveling, I should just record these on my phone so I can get them posted right then. Because that's one benefit, because on a camera, you got to go from SD card to computer to editing thing to do. And sometimes simpler is better, but you know, that's only if you get what I'm talking about there. So no more chatting. I'll see you tomorrow.